Hi there. Christopher here, and welcome back to the Patriot Report, where we dive deep into the Constitution and explore the foundations of American liberty. Today, we're breaking down one of the most often overlooked, yet powerfully symbolic parts of the Bill of Rights, the Third Amendment. What does the Third Amendment say? Let's start with the text itself. It's short and sweet. No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house, without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. That's it. One sentence. But behind that single line lies a history of tyranny, a stand for personal privacy, and a declaration that your home is truly your castle. Where did this come from? To understand why this amendment matters, we have to go back to the time before the American Revolution. In the 1700s, American colonists lived under British rule, and the British government often forced civilians to house British soldiers, feed them, give them a place to sleep, and basically play host to the very people occupying their towns. This wasn't just uncomfortable, it was a violation of personal liberty. Imagine strangers with guns being assigned to sleep in your kid's room or raid your pantry. And if you refused? You could be punished. This practice was known as quartering, and the British even formalized it in laws like the Quartering Acts of 1765 and 1774. These laws infuriated the colonists. It wasn't just the invasion of privacy, it was a reminder that their rights could be ignored at will by a distant king. So when the founders sat down to write the Bill of Rights, they included the Third Amendment to make sure the government could never do that again. Why is it important? Now, you might be thinking, okay, but does this still matter today? Are soldiers knocking on doors asking to sleep over? Of course not. But here's the key, the Third Amendment is more than just a historical relic, it's a symbol of personal privacy, property rights, and limits on government power. It draws a clear line, your home is a private space. The government doesn't get to barge in, take over your house, or force you to support its agents without your consent. It also plays a subtle but powerful role in broader constitutional law. Courts have cited the Third Amendment to support rulings about privacy and government overreach. It may not be used as often as the First or Second Amendments, but when it is, it reinforces that same founding principle, the government serves the people, not the other way around. What does in time of war mean? Great question. The amendment says no quartering in peacetime without consent, and in wartime, only according to law. That means Congress would have to specifically pass a law allowing it, and even then, it would face enormous constitutional scrutiny. So the Third Amendment doesn't say it's impossible during war, but it makes sure it's not automatic. The default is no quartering. Ever. Has it ever been tested in court? Very rarely. There are just a handful of cases where people have tried to use the Third Amendment in lawsuits. In 1982, for example, in a case called Inglum v. Carey, 2 prison guards in New York sued after National Guardsmen were housed in their employee residences during a prison strike. The court actually ruled that the guards had a right to raise a Third Amendment claim, even though they weren't homeowners but tenants. That was a rare example, but it showed that the Third still holds legal weight today. So what's the takeaway? The Third Amendment may not make headlines, but it reflects one of the core ideas of the American experiment: the government doesn't get to intrude into your home or your life without your permission. It reminds us that even in times of national stress, like war or civil unrest, there are lines that government cannot cross without checks and balances. Your house isn't just a structure, it's your sanctuary. Final thoughts. In an age where concerns about government surveillance, data collection, and overreach are growing, the Third Amendment reminds us that our privacy matters. It may not be the most glamorous or debated amendment, but it's a quiet guardian of your rights. Thanks for listening, and remember, liberty is something we must understand, cherish, and protect. Join me next time as we break down the Fourth Amendment, which takes the idea of privacy and cranks it up even further. Until then, stay free, stay informed.